Hey, Treasure fans, your pal Big D back here again with an update on the April movie challenge. Now, this week I did manage to watch 4 of the movies on my on the April challenge. I don't have them all here to show you to see because I put them all away already, which was a bad move by me, but that's okay. We can still talk about them. So the ones I did watch this last week for the challenge is I watched Blazing Saddles, Monty Python and the Holy Grail, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, and American Graffiti. Yeah, so those of you new to my channel, what I'm doing right now is something I'm new. It's kind of a messed up rollout this month, and I promise next month it'll get it'll get a lot more better because I'm trying to work the kinks out still. But my wife sets this challenge up for me every month where I have 10 movies I got to watch. If I'm able to watch those movies and get them all in, I get a movie of my choice. And I kind of rolled it out to everybody because everybody's home right now, and some people kind of jumped on it. Some people have been giving me feedback on it already. I think it's pretty cool. But so that's what I'm kind of doing right now, and I posted up my Facebook account, and I'm really sorry for this. I thought it was only James T. Kirk, which is my email, but it's actually under my name. So if you just look up Don Berg, D-O-N-B-E-R-G, out of Watsonville, California, that's where you'll find me on Facebook. Yeah, I'm right there. I've got Star Trek all over the place. It's got to be me. And that I do post up there what the April challenge is. But let's talk about the movies I did watch. So the first one I watched over the last week was, what was it? It was Blazing Saddles. Actually, I watched Blazing Saddles one night, and I watched Monty Python the Holy Grail the night, the kind of back-to-back nights. And I gotta say, they're very similar. I was really surprised. The kind of the goofball way both those movies roll, and they both kind of end the same way. There's spoilers throughout this thing, because if you haven't seen these movies came out in the 70s. So both of them kind of end up in the same way, where they actually break the fourth wall and they end out in like reality, you know. Both movies do this. I mean, at the end, you got the cops coming in on Monty Python and arresting King Arthur, stuff like that. Then the guy, they break through the movie store, and they're running through the movie store at the end of Blazing Saddles, you know. It's madcap, but Blazing Saddles is an amazing movie. Now, it's been a while since I've seen it, and I didn't realize there's some stuff in that movie that you would not be able to get away with today. There's some stuff in there that was like, oh, I can't believe they said that, or oh gosh. So it's pretty controversial. I'm surprised it hasn't been flagged by somebody yet. But it's still really funny. It's all done in tongue in cheek in the first place, and it really is funny. Yeah, there's some stuff in there that's like, but you have to take it for the time it was filmed in. It's filmed in the 70s. Not saying it was correct, but it was a different era back then, you know. So I guarantee you there's stuff that we're filming movies now that 20, 30 years from now will be really controversial even now. I mean, films are always constantly evolving, constantly changing. But what the cool thing about movies is movies are a good snapshot of the time we were living in when that movie was filmed. You know, you can look at a movie filmed in the 60s and you can see it. You can see the movie filmed in the 60s versus a movie filmed in the 80s. You can see the differences, the filming technique, the style, but mostly the content too, and what comes out of it. You know, you can tell. I'm usually a really good judge. When we'll sit down and watch a movie, I can usually go, that was done in the 70s, that was done in the early 2000s. I can usually nail it out because you can just tell by the way people are acting, the clothes they're wearing, stuff like that. So movies, the cool thing about movies, it's very much a snapshot of that moment in time when that movie was being made. So Blazing Saddles is very much like that. It's very much like it, but it is a very fun movie. It's actually it's my second favorite Mel Brooks movie behind Spaceballs. Obviously, Spaceballs being my favorite. But I still really enjoyed it. It's still a lot of fun. The fart gag, you know, when they're out there in the camp, every time I see that, I roll over and just die laughing. I can't. It's just the funniest thing in the world. It's great to go back and revisit that movie. And as long as you look at it as tongue-in-cheek and not take it seriously, I think everybody can have fun with it. So the next movie I watched was was Monty Python. Again, you can never go wrong with Monty Python. The movie starts out zany, and it goes zany all the way. From people smacking their head with pieces of wood till, you know, a killer rabbit. I mean, you just can't go wrong with it, and it's just so funny. And every time you watch it, you always see something a little bit different, or you forget about certain scenes. You know, my favorite scene in the whole movie is obviously the Black Knight. You know, the Black Knight comes along, wants to fight King Arthur, you know, gets his arm lopped off. I'm still good. Gets his other lopped off. Gets his leg lopped off. Gets both legs lopped off. And he's still like, okay, we'll call it a draw. And you're just laughing. And he's like, well, I'll bite your ankles. It's just funny stuff. You can never go wrong with Monty Python. The guy knows how to tickle your funny bone. He really does. And again, The Holy Grail is just one of the best movies they ever did. It's so much fun. It's dated. The one thing I did know is it is dated. Some of the jokes, like some of the kids that may watch it now might not get some of the jokes because it's dated, but it's still really funny. It's still got a lot of good stuff going for it, and I really enjoyed watching it. So, Monty Python Holy Grail. Then the next one I watched was the night after that, and that was Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Now, funny thing is, I watched this movie about a year or so ago when that really cool 4K set came out, the one with the little button you push and lights up. I do have that set. And but it's been a little while, and I forgot. I always forget how much I enjoy watching that movie. It's one of those ones where, like, when I was a kid, I was bored with it, and it just seemed like it ran on forever. But as an adult, I can really appreciate Spielberg's filming and Spielberg's eye for what he was trying to do. And the effects actually still look really good for being filmed in the 70s. You know, it's kind of hard to believe. Yeah, some of the spaceships are. He uses a lot. He was very smart in this. He used a lot of bright lights that kind of, you know, drowned out the picture, so you kind of don't get to see all the really fine detail. That way he was able to get away. I think he was able to get away with a few things. But it's still really good to watch. Richard Dreyfuss, I mean, just, gosh, this guy, home run after home run after home run. He's a really good actor. I mean, he goes from, you know, Jaws to this, to Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Before that, he's in American Graffiti, which is the next movie I watched. And, you know, it's a really good movie. It really is. Like I said, when I was a kid, I always found it really boring, but as an adult, I really get so much more out of it. There's a lot more to it. Maybe because I'm an adult and I understand the situations a lot more the characters are in than I did when I was a kid, but it's still a really good movie. It's still a really fun movie. And I remember being a kid when the ship landed and the aliens started coming out. They got that one tall alien going, "Rrr," and all the little ones came out. I remember being terrified. Like, I remember hiding behind a pillow and just being scared of those aliens. You look at him now and you're like, why was I scared? But as a kid, I could have been, 5, 6 years old watching this thing. So, or maybe it was 6 or 7. But, you know, it terrified me. Obviously, it doesn't now. But it's just a really good movie. It really hits home. It's just, it's another one of Spielberg's greatest. I mean, Spielberg, in this era, the 70s going into the 80s, he was just hitting home run after home run after home run. This is another one. I mean, it's really well done. It's got a very iconic song to it. Doo, 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 doo. Everybody knows what that is. So, just a fun, great movie. I really enjoyed watching it again. So, Close Encounters of the Third Kind. And the last one I watched was American Graffiti. We actually watched that last night. We sat down and watched that last night. I have to say, it's been a really long time since I watched American Graffiti. It's probably been 25 years since I watched it. I still really like it, but yet another movie that's got a lot of stuff in there we were noticing last night that was like, whoa, you wouldn't get away with that now. Whoa, that guy, you know, even Ron Howard's character does some stuff by today's standards would be like very taboo. But back in the early 70s, it was just mainstream happy-go-lucky. So, again, it's one of those movies you have to kind of look beyond that and realize it was a product of its time. But it's still a really good movie. I mean, you can see, because it's one of George Lucas' first movies, so you can kind of see how he was going to evolve it. You know, you get to see Harrison Ford for the first time. You know, everybody in that movie was all really young and young up-and-comers, with the exception of Ron Howard, who was, I believe he was in the midst of doing Happy Days at the time. And then, I just forget her name, but Shirley from Laverne and Shirley, she was doing that, I think, at the time. But everybody else in that movie was up-and-comers. And to watch these people and to just experience the movie, the classic cars. There's so many beautiful-looking cars. This movie is actually filmed not too far away from where I live, about an hour and a half away from where I live. So it's still really close, but the cars are beautiful in the movie. My brother-in-law pointed out, he's like, how come every car in this movie looks pristine? I joked, I go, well, movies more days are worried about aesthetics. Movies back then weren't. Also, he was working on a shoestring budget, and I'm sure every car that was in that movie, he made a call and said, anybody got a classic car, bring it down. So it was kind of funny how, like, everything looks so pristine, you know. Then you get to Star Wars, his next big foray, and then everything looks dirty and grungy. Kind of learned from that and moved it into that. It's kind of funny, but it's still a good movie. It's a very good coming-of-age movie. You can see a lot of not influence, but you can see how it influenced Dazed and Confused. There's a lot of stuff in American Graffiti that kind of transpire over. Literally, Matthew McConaughey's character comes right out of a character right out of American Graffiti. I mean, literally. I mean, some of the stuff he says is almost like verbatim what Matthew McConaughey says in Dazed and Confused. And they're very similar movies. Just one's done in the 70s, I think Dazed and Confused was done in the 90s. So it's just a different time, but still very similar, you know. Both are about the same era, just filmed in different times. But just a really good movie. It was really fun. The music is outstanding. Got old 50s rock. You can't ever go wrong with that. You got Wolfman Jack. I don't know, you know who Wolfman Jack is. You got to be old like me to know who Wolfman Jack is. But that guy, man, he had a radio voice like no other. And I remember listening to him as a kid, and just always. And I had a picture because he called himself the Wolfman. So I always picked, as a kid, I picked him like as like he looked like a wolf. You know, he was. I'm going to do the radio show because I was really into like the Universal horror movies at the time, you know, the Universal monster movies. So I really thought as a kid, I thought he was actually a werewolf. But still a really fun movie. It was a lot of fun to watch it again. It's really cool to go back and rewatch these movies, especially these movies are all filmed around the time I was born. So they've been around 40, every one of these movies has been around over 40 years. So they still all hold up really well and they still look really good. So that's the really cool thing about it. So with that being said, I've got 6 out of the 10 done. We are literally, I'm filming this on the 14th. So that would put me at, I'm over halfway done. I'm got 6 movies. I only got 4 more movies to do in 2 weeks. The ones I have left are Apocalypse Now, Rocky, Halloween, and Saturday Night Fever. That is it. So I got what, a horror movie, a war movie, 2 dramas. There we go. So that is it. Thank you guys all so much for watching. Leave me some comments down below. Have you been watching these movies with the thoughts about them? Even if you haven't watched it, just let me know what your comments are about some of these movies, what your thoughts are on some of these classic movies. Click the like button if you enjoyed the video. Click the subscribe button if you want to see more videos by who? Me, Big D. Again, thank you guys all for watching so much. I really, truly appreciate it. Everybody take care out there. Please share this video. If you have any questions, feel free. Like I said, again, my email address is jamestkirk@sbcglobal.net. Please feel free to email me. Let me know what your thoughts are and stuff like that. I always return emails, so you know, that's what it is. But again, thank you guys all for watching. Everybody take care and please be safe out there. Always keep hunting, even if it's online. And as always, live long and prosper. Bye.